A History of Southern Missouri and Northern Arkansas by William Monks, published in 1907. How Received by the Batesville Ladies. After the fighting had subsided, the author, with a part of the command, rode up High Street to the hall where they had just been dancing. There must have been as many as 250 or 300 ladies in the hall and on the roof. Some of the boys dismounted, went up into the hall, and drank some of their eggnog, although there were strict orders against it. The main command reached the east end of High Street, marching in a solid column of two with a brass band and drums and fifes playing and striking up the tune of Yankee Doodle. They came marching down High Street in the direction of the hall. The women began to use the strongest epithets possible in their vocabulary against the Union soldiers, calling them nigger lovers, lop-eared Dutch, thieves, and murderers. The author spoke to them, saying, "You are mistaken. These men are gentlemen, sent here by the government to establish a military post, and if you treat them nicely, you will receive the same kind of treatment." About this time, the front of the command had moved up to the hall. At once, a number of the ladies began to make mouths at them and spit over their banisters toward them, calling them vile names. The soldiers then began to hallo at the top of their voices, "Oh, yonder is my Dixie girl, the one that I marched away from the north to greet. God bless their little souls, ain't they sweet? Sugar wouldn't melt in their mouths. I am going to get my bandbox and cage up one of the sweet little morsels and take her home for a pet." The voices of the soldiers completely drowned the hearing of anything the women were saying. In a little while the women hushed. As the column was passing by, one of the women remarked, "I believe that gentleman gave us good advice. I think we had better stop our abuse, and we will be treated better." We marched down to the west end of High Street, marched across to the next main street, then the head of the column turned east again up Main Street, and striking up the tune of "Hail Columbia, my happy land," marched up to the east end of Main Street, and ordered a guard placed around the whole town to prevent the escape of the rebel soldiers that were concealed in the town. The author never saw as much confusion as there was there for a short time among the citizens, especially the women. Some were laughing, some were abusing the soldiers, some crying, and some cursing. After things had quieted down, the soldiers went into camp. Colonel Livingston began to hunt suitable buildings for his headquarters and for an office for the provost marshal and judge advocate. It became a fixed fact with the citizens of the city that the Federals were going to locate a permanent post at that place. While they were in pursuit of the rebels, the author remembered an incident that attracted his attention. There were 4 or 5 Negro men standing upon the street corner, and one of the officers halloed out to the negroes, "Which way did the rebels go?" On one corner of the street there was a bunch of rebel citizens standing, and as soon as the corner was turned and they were out of sight of the rebel citizens, they answered the officer, "Massa, we don't know which way the rebels went." One of them dodged around the corner in an instant, and in a low tone of voice and with a motion of his hand said, "Massa, they went right that way." Almost in an instant came back around the corner and said in hearing of the rebel citizens, "Massa, I declare I don't know the way them rebels went." The next morning, Livingston issued a general order for all persons who claimed protection from the Federal Army to come in and report and take the oath. The author remembers an incident that occurred on the evening of the fight. There had been 2 or 3 men killed just across the bridge, and they placed a guard there with orders to let no person cross it without a pass. Shortly after dark, a young lady who had secreted around her waist and under her clothes 2 pistols a belt and scabbard, which belonged to a Confederate soldier, just after Doc came to the bridge and wanted to cross. The sergeant of the guard asked her if she had a pass, to which she replied that she had not. He informed her that he could not let her go over. Among the guards was an Irishman, and the young lady remarked to the sergeant that it was very hard that she had a relative that was killed just across the bridge, and she wanted to go over and see him, and that a woman couldn't do any harm, and they might let her go over without a pass. The Irishman sprang to his feet and remarked, "But Jesus, woman can do a divil of a sight of harm, can convey more information, can carry more intelligence through the lines to the rebels than 20 men, and there are so many of our officers, if she happens to be good-looking, we'll let her pass through." The sergeant, believing that she was a near relative of one of the men that was killed a short distance from the bridge, let her pass over, and that night she delivered the pistols to the Confederate soldiers. She afterwards admitted this when she was arrested for refusing to take the oath.